Hello everybody, and thank you for coming. I appreciate your time. I'm going to talk dog 101 and just going to go over quite a few things just to, refresh some of the stuff that hopefully you already know, and then maybe teach you something that you don't already know, which hopefully you guys all learn and take from what I offer today. Here's a little bit of the synopsis of what I'm going to go through, the history and why I decided to do this for you today. The types of training, the tools of the trade, nutrition, vets and vaccines, safety for your pet and you, exercise, how important that is. Let's start with how dogs learn. They learn through nose, eyes, and ears. Just like their head, their nose is in front, their eyes are in the middle, and their ears are behind. That's how they learn, okay? And that's for the basics. The bottom line for teaching dogs is consistency. You want to do the same thing, exactly the same thing, timing and fairness when you have to when you're training dogs. So timing, as far as giving a treat or reward or click, if you're working with clickers, timing and fairness. Be fair to your dog when you're working with him. And then obviously consistency, do the same thing repetitively, the same way every time, and you're going to have the training that you need to get as far as sitting, stay, down, come, and heeling, which are the 5 basics that you should at least teach your dog, okay? Traditional training is normal. That's usually the way trainers train, and traditional training means that we use force, which sounds bad. But when I ask a dog to sit, we push their bum down, okay? That's force. It's not mean, it's just the word force sounds awful. I'm teaching the dog to sit with my hand, I'm using force. If I'm teaching the dog to stand, I bring his collar forward. If I'm teaching him to lay down, I kind of, massage his shoulder so he goes down. There are different ways, and that's called traditional training. Okay, the next one, tools of the trade. Here. Okay, first we have our, leash or a lead, all right, which is a sturdy tether-like thing. It doesn't matter kinds of they have, cables or what have you. I like to teach that a lead is something that I do for my dog. A leash is something that I am tied to him with. Whether you are tied to your dog and have your dog pull you, or you are in control of your dog, which is what I call a lead. Okay, so we can call the same contraption a lead or a leash. I prefer to call it a lead. So then we have a slip collar, okay, which is one that again in traditional training, when it tightens when they pull, and then when they don't pull it releases. So that's a common one. We have the infamous e-collar, which is what I was talking about with Nova. We did put an e-collar on Nova. So this is the collar that goes around the dog. This is the a box that goes, and it has prongs in it. It doesn't hurt the dog. What it is kind of like, remember back in the day when we had pagers? That little buzz and the pager does. This remote, which is something that I would hold, and the dog would wear the collar part. These buttons control the stimulation, we call them stimulation, to the little box that's on the dog, and that stimulation is what we call the e-collar. So it sends a pulse to the dog to correct or change their behavior from a distance, okay? The pinch collar for aggressive dogs who like to pull is an instant. They are really, it's amazing. So if your dog pulls, might be something you might want to consider, called a pinch collar. I would recommend you go to the store, just try it out, put it on your arm and see that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt the dog at all. It's supposed to signify the teeth of the mama dog, which is when they were little. It's what they got in a correction to do the right thing. So that's why this is such an amazing tool. We have what we call a dominant dog collar, which is similar to the the slip lead. It's the same thing except for it's made out of nylon, and it clips to itself and to to the lead, your lead. Again, the lead. Again, it's thin, so that very similar to the chain, except for this is nylon, and it goes right up into the thing, and again it tightens when the dog pulls, and loosens when the dog walks next to you, which is the whole point. So they call it a dominant dog collar. So that's another tool. The best tool to have is a lead. So we all have that nutritional recommendations that people have. There is also nutritional recommendations for dogs. The book that I use and have used in the past is this Holistic Guide for a Healthy Dog. And it basically is one of the methods, because there are many methods of barf diets. You can find these books anywhere, multiple books on different people's ideas of what the biologically appropriate raw food is. Okay, let's see. We're going to move on to safety. Safety for your dogs, all right? Safety for your dogs. First step, I want to make sure that before you leave the house every day, make sure that your equipment, your leads, and your collars are all safe. Make sure they are cracked. Make sure that they click and they're snug. They stay clicked. That they're not broken. If they're broken, get a different type, or for a moment, until you get a better one. Use a slip lead or something, so that you're safe. That way, when you're outside, you can manage your dog safely. Like I said, make sure that you have a backup in case anything happens. If your dog should happen to get out of the lead that you're in, make sure that you have a backup way to get a hold of the dog after that incident happens. Restraining the dog is going to help, yes, but just like a child, the dog should be in the back seat. The dog should be in the back seat with a restraint, not free. Because again, if the dog is free but in the back seat, the dog at that potential when you are going to come to an abrupt stop, and you never know when that's going to happen. We all live in Massachusetts. You never know when that's going to happen. At a moment's notice, you never know when that's going to happen. They have these harnesses that are equipped with this attachment. It's a loop that you put the seatbelt through, and that holds the dog. So if this is the front of the dog, it holds the dog in the seatbelt in the back seat, so that the dog stays secure. Okay? And you can teach your dog how to stay in the back seat. We had to teach Nova. Nova's a little bit rambunctious. We had to teach him that he has to stay in the seatbelt. It can be taught. All right? Very, very safe. You need to keep your dog safe. Moving on, exercise. The importance of exercise for your dog. Huge. Okay? The number one thing that you can do for your dog, and the most important thing that you can do for your dog, is exercise. Okay? And again, the most important thing that you can do is a walk. You have to walk dogs. Dogs in nature, they go out and then they come back. Whether you go around the corner, whether you go down a block, whether you take them on a 2-mile walk, walk your dog. That is the most important thing you can do for your dog, is walk him. Dogs need to leave the house just like people do, and they need to come back just like people do. We all go off to work and we all come home. We all go to the store and we all come home. Dogs have to go out, okay? Oh, but Yvonne, I have a backyard. I have a big backyard. They can play and they do and they run around. So backyard is awesome and good for you for having a backyard, but the backyard is not the same as a walk. The backyard is like recess, okay, for kids. We go off to recess, we play around, we have the ball, we play on our tools, on our playthings. Not the same as sitting in a classroom, doing your math, doing your science, doing your English. Walking for a dog is math and science. Okay, again, how dogs learn. Nose, eyes, ears, all right? Math and science. When we're outside, we're smelling things, we're getting different scents. We're saying, ooh, who was here before me? I can mark on this place. Ooh, who was here? Who was here? Who was here? Math and science. So I can judge, okay, well, I've been out for like 15 minutes. This is how far I've gotten. Then they know that they can return home. That's how dogs learn. I learned I go a certain distance, I know this area, I can return home. So if he should happen to get lost, hope to God 9 times out of 10, the dog will come home because it knows its way. You taught him by taking him out and bringing him back. He knows the way home, okay? So it's hugely important to walk your dog. So important. So just know that the difference between walking your dog and putting it out in the backyard are two very, very different things. Oh, I take my dog to the park. Well, that's great. You take him to the park, that's just like recess, okay? Recess for dogs is not training. Recess for dogs is not walking. Walking, you need to walk your dog. Walking your dog is math and science, and outside in the backyard is recess. All right, so just know that the most important thing you can do for your dog is walk him. Grooming, all right, keeping your dog neat and clean, just like people, we have to keep clean. Keep your coat nice and shiny, keep his skin healthy and free of parasites, because we got ticks, we got bugs out there, lice, we got all those fun stuff that, comes in the spring and the summer. That's really kind of nasty. So keep them clean, keep their bedding clean, very important. Keep their nails trimmed. And a little tip on that, in order to not have to take them to get their nails trimmed, walk your dog. The pavement does it for you. It's awesome. Okay, so the more you walk your dog, you won't have to do that. So if your dog doesn't like you get the nails trimmed, walk your dog. It's really easy. So grooming, really important. Keep the bedding clean. Wash your dog's bowls all the time. The way I look at it is, if you wouldn't eat out of that dog bowl, then don't give it to your dog. Wash it before you give it to him. Keeping the food clean and I guess not stale. I guess that's a good word. Not stale. Keep it fresh for the dogs. It's kind of like eating stale cereal. Let's take a little bit of initiative to help again. Back to nutrition. Keep your bowls, the dog's bowls, clean. Fresh water given all the time. Wash your bowls. Wash the bowls, your water bowls. Put a little bleach in it to kill any parasites that are living in the bowls, just from stagnant water or saliva from the dogs. Keep everything clean. Keep your dog clean. He's going to be much happier, and you're going to be a lot cleaner. The bedding and whatnot is going to be cleaner. All right, so also want to bring up healthy teeth and gums. Make sure that if you have to brush your dog's teeth, I usually use marrow bones. Those usually do it for me. Any of those little nubby toys, those work well. Anything that they have to chew to keep the saliva moving in their mouth, that's natural, as opposed to, greenies do it. That's helpful for their breath also. But keeping their teeth and gums clean and healthy, going to extend the life of their teeth, obviously, just like people brushing their teeth and whatnot. It's more so about keeping the saliva going or moving around in their mouth to keep their gums. And again, that's natural, because their pH balance is so high and acidic that keeping that acidic value moving in their mouth is what keeps their gums and teeth healthy. And you definitely need that. All right, and that helps with bad breath. So if you have a dog that has bad breath, you want to give them parsley juice. Again, we're going back to nutrition. Parsley juice, and parsley helps the dog's breath stay fresher. Socializing your dog. Okay, we all want a social dog. We want a dog who gets along with other dogs. And if that is what you want, that's awesome, but you really need to start when they are little puppies, so that you can teach your dog as it grows that it's okay to be around other dogs. You have to know the other dogs it's going to be around, to make sure that those dogs are healthy, make sure they're stable. So you just want to make sure that the dogs that they are socializing with are stable, and that they all do get along and they have a good experience, so that they can learn to continue to be social. Different things for you guys. The Art of Dog, theartofdog.com, really good for learning about everything about dogs. Again, like I spoke of, good for vaccinations, learning about vaccinations and stuff. Learberg.com, another one for lots of training videos, and also leads or dominant dog collars and stuff I had mentioned earlier. Pet education, again, for vaccines, really good website, peteducation.com. And then the Whole Dog Journal, also a really good place to find lots of dog information. So a few things that you can find a million out there. So to do research as far as nutrition, again, nutrition, look into nutrition, look into vaccines, but all of these will help in all that stuff. And then my contact information if you want to get a hold of me, if you need to talk further. I'd love to talk to you guys about anything, any issues that you have. Spaneyz, SPANEYZ @yahoo.com. All right, thanks for coming. I appreciate your time.